The 1998 Little Mermaid is an animated feature film directed by Geoff Beak and Susan Beak. This is, of course, based on the story by Hans Christian Andersen, and we have a screenplay by Leonard Lee. And we have a voice cast, including Robyn as Miranda, who is our Little Mermaid, and Ric Herbert as Prince William, which I have to say every time he was called Prince William, I had a little chuckle because I just pictured the actual Prince William, which I have to say brought me some amusement. With regards to the film itself, I didn't really like it. And there are a couple of reasons for that. But I will say credit where it's due. It is a little different to pretty much every other Little Mermaid film I've seen. The story is generally very similar. The Little Mermaid character wants to be on land, wants to be with the prince, but she has to make a big bargain to do this, and she has to potentially give up a lot. And there are a lot of similarities with the classic story. But this one focuses a little more on the prince very, very early on. We have a very different opening where we're focusing on Prince William and his very dramatic father and a funny orange cat. It's certainly not the way I expected things to start off, and it was quite different. And then we go to Miranda. We get to meet the Little Mermaid, and she was a decent enough character. I don't have any problems with the character, her personality, or the way she's represented. She's interesting enough. But every other aspect of the film I just didn't like. I give it credit for having a slightly different approach to the narrative, but at the same time I didn't think it was a great representation of the story. It wasn't. If I were to recommend 5 Little Mermaid films, I don't know if this would make the list, and I don't even know if I've seen 5. I've just checked, and including the 2 Disney sequels, Little Mermaid 2 and Ariel's Beginning, I have seen 6 stories focusing on the character of the Little Mermaid, 7 if you include the 2019 Little Mermaid Live. So this would be at the very bottom of that list. It's not great, it's not engaging. I don't think the story is well handled at all. Some of the music isn't great, the animation is really unsightly. I don't think the animation looks very good at all. The narrative's a little all over the place. It's just not a good version of The Little Mermaid. I would only recommend it if you really like the story, or you're just keen to see something that's maybe a little bit different. And as I said, it does get credit for not just being a carbon copy of other versions. Obviously, when you're adapting something from source material, they're going to be similar, and there are, of course, similarities, but it's a little different in some ways, and it gets credit for that. But also, some of those differences are some of the reasons why I didn't enjoy it. So take that information and do with it as you choose. But personally, I didn't enjoy this. Credit for being different, but I didn't think it was an enjoyable experience, and the animation quality is not satisfying at all. I only recommend it if you're a big Little Mermaid fan and you're curious to see what it's like. But if you're just looking for an enjoyable film, then as I said, it would be the last Little Mermaid film of the ones that I've seen that I would recommend. And in general, it's just not a great experience.